Xiao, the Southern Branch Director of the Section 1 Lu Association, the Lady of Iron, known throughout the city for her stalwart and professional attitude. There is nothing that will stop her from standing in her way to complete the mission. That is, until we see her in Library of Ruina. From having complete control of her emotions, to becoming a vengeful spirit, to recovering herself and awakening her ego, and farming many, and I do mean many, Library of Ruina players to their breaking point. Even though she was a small part of the game, she was remembered fondly. While many people know about her boss fight, they don't really know the character. And thus, today, that's what I want to elucidate. Today, I want to walk you through what we know of Xiao and why she is regarded as a great character. Why did Project Moon put so much thought into her ego? Why is Iron Lotus so fire? And why she will be showing up in Limbus Company sooner than we think, and not in the way you're expecting. Because today, we are talking about Xiao, the Lady of Iron. And therefore, we're going to start Xiao's story where all stories start, at the beginning. And, well, sadly, we don't know too much about it. However, thanks to us being able to read Xiao and Lowell's key pages and one story point event, we can build a pretty good idea on Xiao's backstory. To begin with, where did she grow up? Backstreets or Nest? During the second reception of Liu Association 2, it is said that Lowell, for his 1-year anniversary with her, is going to gift Xiao a Nest migration ticket. Now, I don't know if Xiao was born in a different Nest than Lowell, but usually, Nest migration tickets come from moving someone from the backstreets into a Nest. If this is true, then Xiao would know that if she shows any weakness or place her faith in the wrong person, she could easily end up dead. Though, this is only a theory. What we do know is Xiao quickly moved up the ranks of the Lu Association and became the Southern Association 1 branch director before the age of 32. During this time, she quickly became known for being a cold person. A woman that would only face forward, completing her mission no matter how dire it became. Never shedding tears for her fallen colleagues. Never trying to improve the morale of her men. Only focusing on achieving victory. True victory when the opportunity presents itself. Xiao thought most of her problems could be solved this way. Shedding tears and showing concern for her allies would cause her to falter and have stirred uneasiness in them. Cause what happens when your leader breaks down or doesn't know what to do? They panic. And in turn, their underlings panic. Turning a winnable battle into a horrible disaster. During that time, more deaths are bound to happen until the leader is able to get their emotions back under control. And even then, it may be too late. To her credit, Xiao does care for her men. She may not show it on her face, but deep down, takes an emotional toll each time it happens. At times, she did find it unbearable to hold it in. These experiences did cause Xiao to realize an idea. If she was to remain how she was, regardless of how desperate the situation was, and not panic, constantly putting her mind on the mission first, less deaths will happen in the long run. The less colleagues under her command that die, the more relieved she would be. It does come at the cost of her men thinking that she is heartless, but deep down, it granted her some peace of mind. Putting it into action, she gained the nickname, the Lady of Iron. During her time as director, Xiao worked with Lowell, the newly appointed Section 2 director. Lowell was the direct opposite of Xiao. He cared for his colleagues and grieved for his fallen allies, which was curious to Xiao. She expected him to die very quickly due to his tenderness, but instead, he thrived. Getting jealous that he was able to show concern, unlike her. Over time, they both worked on multi-division missions together, where they both disagreed on everything. From combat to personality, nothing would make you think they would be together. Over time, and multiple missions, Lowell and Xiao did grow curious about each other. They both wondered, what's this emotion that was gnawing inside of them? Not in a malicious or an envious way, but more of, if I understand this person and their way of thinking, perhaps they can help me be a better person. They didn't know when it happened, but they started to spend more time together outside of work, eventually getting married a year before current events, cherishing each other the best they knew how. Given their line of work, they did their best to not mix their personal life with it, promising each other that if one of them dies, the other will live on and not pursue revenge, finding something that was precious to only them in this rotten city. Though with all feelings and belongings, you don't know how much they mean to you until they're gone. Kicking us off to Library of Ruina, where the entire South Section Lu Corp was hired by V Corp to hunt down the crying children distortion and either capture it or kill it. Xiao and Lowell broke up into two groups. Xiao will lead her division to capture the crying children, and Lowell to investigate the library, the place they believe the distortion came from. Wanting to get the mission over with, Xiao's division went out and dispatched the crying children, supposedly achieving victory. Until Agalia, the blue reverberation, intervened, stealing victory from the Lady of Iron. Xiao didn't take this lying down, striking that blue sicko, which, to her credit, takes a tremendous amount of courage, especially because he is a color and they are tired from the fight. During their little sparring session, the complete troll that is Agalia does what he does best, whisper sweet doubts into people, with the blue sicko saying he wants to fill the void left in his heart. He knows what he wants and is going to get it. Then, asking Xiao if she has filled her heart with a certain person. Somewhat referencing what she would do if Lowell was killed, planting a couple seeds of doubt before retreating. Afterwards, she finds out Lowell was killed by the library and received an invitation. Right now, Project Moon is setting up Xiao's story very similar to Philippe. Two people that barely showed any emotion when they are first introduced and are quickly thrust into emotionally devastating situations. With Xiao losing her husband and Philippe losing his crush and mentor. Mission's a complete failure and now must move on from it by being re-invited into the library. Surely, the same thing will happen again, right? Or will a different outcome occur? In the next chapter, we see Xiao being approached by Miris and Chun, her co-captains. And in it, we see a normal Xiao, which is somewhat odd. We should be expecting her breaking down and sobbing, but she isn't. After telling them the news of the Lu withdrawing from L Corp's nest, she is quitting her post, infuriating the both of them. This is not like her, the Lady of Iron disobeying orders, while telling them to continue with the Lu and not follow her. Eventually, she reveals that she received an invitation to the library, with Lowell's book being a reward. Chun presses Xiao for more information, which Xiao folds, revealing that she cried for the first time in her life. Trying to fill this void that is now opened, she vows to avenge Lowell and is willing to sacrifice herself to prove that there was meaning in her life. Because what good is it to look at stars if you don't have someone watching it with you? Also revealing that she doesn't have any plans after this, knowing full well that death is coming for her. Miris and Chun decide to follow Xiao to the library. Even though they never saw this side of Xiao, they were still determined to help her to the end, giving up their careers as fixers for the selfish wish of their own free will.
내가 지금 뭘 본 거지?
This says a lot about Xiao's leadership, and thankfully, her men do a lot to repay Xiao in her most vulnerable moment. Roland comments that the White Nights and Dark Days did indeed make people more honest with themselves. Never did he think Xiao, of all people, would be blinded by love, setting up an E.G.O or distortion possibility. Now, in Xiao's defense, she does all of this because Lowell died very suddenly when she thought he would be okay. He would get out of it like he would always would, but this is different. he didn't come back. He got turned into a book. Now, in your current state of shock, confusion, anger, and grief, you would want at least something to remember them by. Whether it be their favorite stuffed animal, photos, or their favorite item, Lowell's book would be the perfect item to at least satisfy Xiao in the moment, avenging him and possibly start refilling that sudden void in her heart. On top of that, she is breaking her promise to Lowell, so in the future I am expecting some drama with it. Entering the library, I do like how Mirrors brings up Xiao getting them new jobs if they survive and get kicked out of the Liu. It's a small plan at least, compared to no plan at all. On top of that, it's rather funny. What? Are they going to open up a bakery and make steam buns? Upon entering, Angela is gobsmacked that Xiao even showed up. There is nothing to be gained from this endeavor. It's even pointless to throw their lives away for a very selfish goal. Even going so far as to say Xiao getting a new husband to replace her old one. Strange. Enraging Xiao even further. How could a machine understand what she is feeling? How could a machine understand why humans feel despair and the will to still rise up in hopes of taking back what they lost? Cause to Xiao, even if it's another book to Angela, that book has a lot of meaning to her. Xiao isn't fazed by Angela. Saying what she sees as despair, she sees as hope. Both of which doesn't do anything or tell you what to do. However, they are two different words with two different meanings. If Xiao was in despair like Angela suggested, she would do nothing and just lie down and die or find someone else. However, Xiao came to face the jaws of death, the same jaws of death that murdered countless people that she cared for, hoping that with her resolve that it will be conquered. After all, hope allows one to touch the untouchable, reach the unreachable, and see the invisible. Xiao, discount tarantula. Now we gotta add Rapper onto her new jobs. Before getting overwhelmed by the library, Mirrors and Xiao retreated back to the lobby. I swear, this is the 7th time it happened. Though, this one is more unusual than the rest. Mirrors drags Xiao away when Xiao was ready to die. The only time this happens. Hell, rolling comments it's normal for one person to run away in fear. But dragging someone with a death wish is totally different. When seen again, an enraged Xiao was starting to transform, developing scales and horns, desperate to continue the reception. Mirrors explains that Xiao is in no condition to fight. She is consumed by her emotions and needs to calm down, because all she's doing right now is swinging her sword like a toddler. Well, a rather strong toddler, but you get the picture. Attacking Mirrors, where he proceeds to no-diff her. Breaking down, Xiao admits she can't accept the library and Angela taking Lowell away from her. That it's her fault for forcing Mirrors, Chun, and Section 1 into a selfish request. That they would be victorious, but now she doesn't know. Paying the consequences of everyone else dying but her. Feeling guilty that she led everyone into a knowing slaughter, and here she is, running away. Maybe Angela was right, and she should have wallowed in despair and lived. Finally, she turned to Mirrors, asking, "What should I do?" Pause! This is the exact same situation Philippe had with Oswald. Philippe was overwhelmed with survivor's remorse, guilty that he sent people in to die for him in order to fulfill his selfish agenda, frustrated that nothing worked as planned. All the while, he is powerless to do anything against the library and Oswald, the big bad villains in his story. Showing us what happens when someone is pushed to their limits. Philippe was given two options, and, well, we saw what happened. He caved into his doubts and distorted. Now, we're in a similar situation, but there is one crucial difference that saves Xiao from being another Philippe. She had Mirrors. Now, this is usually skipped, but I think if Miris wasn't here, Xiao would have distorted. Why? Cause one reason. He put his trust in her and reassures her. We saw what happened with Philippe. Oswald played with his emotions and twisted it to suit his and Pluto's ends. Even though Philippe could have resisted it, it was next to impossible considering the situation and the amount of deaths and trauma that happened to him in such a short time. He had no one to help him, to see that there was another path. Now back to Xiao. Miris offered a safe place for Xiao to vent and not be judged negatively. He reassures her that she doesn't have to do everything herself, telling Xiao that he and Lu Association 1 would have left if they wanted her power. They chose to follow Xiao to help her achieve her goal. After the many times they've worked together and Xiao saving them, they made their choice to follow her, not out of compulsion, but out of loyalty, believing that with their help, they could bring Xiao back to her senses. Because sometimes, what a person really needs to hear is that someone has their back, which all of us need to hear. Humans are social creatures that depend on each other when we are too invested in negativity. A small gesture of kindness can overcome the darkness. Which was all Xiao needed to hear, because misintrusive thoughts decided to show up a little after Xiao's beliefs were reaffirmed. We don't know what Carmen said, but we can have a pretty good idea. Carmen wanted Xiao to focus on herself and continue pursuing her selfish goals. Now, judging by the way the final dialogue goes, Carmen worded it vaguely. A selfish mind shouldn't be viewed negatively, but Xiao is also right in saying she needs to have other people around her in order to validate who she is. Because if she was alone, she would have strayed from her path a long time ago. A balance needs to be maintained, exactly the same as in real life. Shortly after that, and regaining her composure, Xiao's incomplete ego received an ego upgrade. With it, her body is now covered in scales and has cracked ancient Chinese armor on top of it. Apologizing to Miris for leading them astray, she will now get back on the path of victory. True victory! Even if she doesn't know where the path will lead, as long as someone cares for her and is with her, she will be their shield and do whatever in her power to overcome it. Which leads to her and Miris getting curb stomped by the library again. Losing Miris makes Xiao tense up. Alone, she questions her past actions. Whether she did all this for Lowell's book, wanting to conquer the library and avenge Section 2, or proving that she is a strong leader for her men. She will not know Miris' answer until she sees him again in death. Frozen in fear, until Carmen whispered sweet nothings into Xiao's ear again. Xiao uses her voice as encouragement, that she is on the right path, and reaffirms her belief, saying that without fear, there is no bravery. Without that, life has no reason to exist. Xiao will still fight for herself and for everyone around her, the living and the dead. If she doesn't, she believes that their sacrifice has been in vain. With the final conversation ending, a lone tree cannot form a forest on its own. Yes, but if Xiao gives up now, that lone tree will die, and a forest is never made. Declaring to Carmen,
비록 혼자여도 밤은 찾아온다. 그리고 새벽이 오지 않는 밤은 없지. 한낮 사라질 별 따위가 떠오르는 태양의 빛을 이길 수 있을까? 각오해라. 오늘 도시에 별 하나가 질 테니.
unlocking her ego's true potential, and is ready to take on the library and farm salty tears. During the transition, the song Iron Lotus plays, and the battlefield changes to a war-torn battle on top of the Great Wall of
China.
Everything that Xiao mentions in her speech is shown here, with her returning as a morning sun to refight the library before she burns out. Xiao viewing the wall and the gate in the background on the right as the library, and destroying it is her desire to conquer it. The last defenders are your units that are against her, and a second garrison she must go through. Not the most creative, but it gets the message across well. Let's talk about Iron Lotus first, before we cover Xiao and her new abilities, shall we? Iron Lotus is about Xiao's love, loss, and regret of not saying goodbye to Lowell before his untimely death. Before going into anything, I think the title name should be covered first. Why Lotus? We already know the iron part, so explaining that is pointless. I'm going to guess it's a Chinese lotus, cause you know, China. Also me realizing the dancing figure is on top of one. In Chinese culture, the lotus flower, Hua, is a powerful symbol of purity, enlightenment, rebirth, and spiritual growth. It is often associated with Buddhism, where it represents the awakening of the Buddha and the attainment of nirvana. The lotus' ability to bloom in pristine beauty despite emerging from muddy waters signifies the ability to overcome challenges and achieve enlightenment. Thank you, Google. All of this translated over to Xiao very well within the story, and I don't think I need to retell anything. It's all rather self-explanatory. Include iron in front of it, and it's now Xiao's journey of enlightenment. Time for the lyrics. I'm only summarizing the major points of each paragraph, or whatever it's called. I'm not a music expert, I'm not pretending to be. At the start of the song, Xiao is not confident with Mirror's dying. She is all alone with death all around her. She'd broken her promise to Lowell about giving up avenging him, but here she is, doing exactly that. Then, the next section proceeds to talk about Xiao's sadness of losing Lowell and pushing past it. Starting where the first chorus should be. Millie songs really don't have a chorus, but this is the closest to one that we get. In it, Xiao is the dragon of the Liu. She will fight against the enemies that will harm the Liu Association and her husband. Because if it wasn't for them, Xiao wouldn't have realized that she is a sincere person. With these memories, she goes on to easily decimating her enemies, thanks to her newfound ego. The statement, burning my memories, can also be viewed as her trying to maintain her ego. Based on what Gebura said, maintaining ego is very difficult and requires a lot of willpower. Since Xiao just awakened it, she probably is losing memories as she is fighting. The second part of the chorus is talking about herself as a flower of iron. A play on words of her nickname, the Lady of Iron, referencing her cold and pragmatic nature. In it, she mentions how she is unable to say how much she loved Lowell and the Section 1 Association. Instead of saying that, she chose to say nothing by chewing on the Huaming Tang, a hard plum candy in China. This candy sounds very similar to Hawao Mi, meaning no words. Moving on to the next paragraph, Xiao is talking about the library literally, with how Angela defeats and captures people. Xiao later compares it to the greed and freedom of the city, where the citizens don't have a lot of freedom due to them fulfilling mandatory obligations in order to survive. Any chance to get more freedom results in them having to take it from others. In Library of Ruina and the player's case, more deck building options becomes available, and in Angela's case, removing her machine body. On top of that, for deck building, there can only ever be one Object Day Art Day key page and combat page in the deck. These are the highest impact pages that make gameplay a whole lot easier, but having less of it means you don't have the ability to spam it. Anything of lower quality can easily be farmed and used, but won't have the same impact. After that, it talks about Xiao going on the warpath against the library, wanting to get through the invitation in order to get Lowell's book back, stating that she would gladly give up her life so she could have Lowell back and the Liu Association. The phrase, "stop leading me on," references to her interactions with everyone that antagonized her. Angela saying that this is pointless, Argalia saying Lowell is going to die soon, and Joy not being fulfilled, and finally Carmen antagonizing Xiao with intrusive thoughts. Xiao wants to follow her own path to victory, not anyone else's. In the next paragraph, Xiao talks about how her association wants to recall her, preventing her from getting Lowell's book back. Even though she is a high-class fixer, she must obey her higher authorities, explaining why she quit. The final grouping of words before the chorus was her admitting that Lowell and her group made her realize that she was a good person. Without them, she would never have realized it. Thanking them for this happiness and love, she eats the last white rabbit, Netang, another Chinese candy that expresses love in the past. Even then, she does feel pain because her actions played a part in them dying. Finally, the supposed chorus comes back in, but is shortened, referencing that all she has left now is a shell of iron. She is critically injured and is ready to die, feeling only one regret, of not saying how important everyone was to her. Instead of saying it, she sucks on her final candy, the Mayan Tang, or malt syrup, referencing her still holding back her feelings, even though she has come to accept them. Currently, this is Millie's most popular song based on polls, and Millie's song rating since making this video.
Limbus Company!
For the future of Xiao, Lowell, and their subordinates. Sounds weird, but everyone at the end of Library was released back into the city. So, pseudo-death, cause Project Moon needs to hype up people for Limbus Company. I'm expecting them to show up very soon, truth be told. Now, for what purpose they will play, I don't know. A lot of people think that Xiao and Lowell will be antagonists, cause they were the boss fight from last game, but I don't think so. Project Moon already told their story in Library, and if they do it again, that would cheapen Hong Lu's character arc and storytelling. I mean, the antagonist could buy them out for protection, but come on. I also doubt Project Moon will have Xiao and Lowell be support characters to the group, cause that's like weird cause they're not fighting. So, what does that leave us off? Just fan service? No, there is one more option. Playing them. You're telling me you guys wouldn't be hyped as hell to see the crew,
I call them the crew, by the way.
and you get to play them for a couple chapters while Limbus is recovering or doing something else. I know it's a stretch, but it would be cool as hell if Project Moon could pull it off well. Now, what will happen to Xiao? She quit Liu, so it can go one of two ways. The first one being, Liu Association takes Xiao back as the director of South Section 1. Pretty much, she and her subordinates get their job back. Xiao will still be that cold and mission-focused person, but she will be more willing to say her feelings when there is downtime.
Boring.
Now for the other option, and the one I would like to see. Xiao and Lowell doing something else similar to that of Molar Office, like making sweet buns, or Xiao becoming a rapper with those sick lyrics she dropped in Library. Plus, having the subordinates there would be a fun dynamic, instead of them being uptight all the time. Seriously, wouldn't you want to see them serving up the sinners in all the Liu IDs? It would be fire. Okay, jokes aside, what about Xiao's combat power with E.G.O? Well, it's probably been about 2 years, so she must have had plenty of time to get used to it. I suspect it will be the same way as Callie's control of it. She is able to access her final form immediately and not have to go through the intermediate stages of it. Got to remember, the copy that we got in Library was a newly realized E.G.O, and Angela admitted that she struggled to control it, which is why Xiao had to go through stages of it. Now, I do think Xiao can access those intermediate stages if she needs to. It doesn't make sense to go all out on every single fight if you don't have to. While her full form seems to eat up a lot of energy, judging by the lyrics of Iron Lotus, so she will want to save it for the most desperate of situations. Situations that were similar to Library, and her losing a loved one. Outside of that, fancier moves and flashier animations. So yay! It's more likely that Xiao will be saved for a later canto, but probably Lowell and Section 2 will show up and have some time in the spotlight. We do need to see more dynamics between Lowell, Mei, and Cecil, and support that Mei is better than Cecil campaign. With that, you now know everything about Xiao and are patiently waiting for her triumphant return in Limbus Company. One day, you'll be able to play as her and sing Iron Lotus from the top of your lungs while burning everyone into crispy bits. Hope this video has helped you better understand the amazing character that is Xiao. With that, I'm Fox's Holo, and hope to see you in the next one.